This was written and published in 1936 before India got independence, and it was one of the last works the Premchand as a writer has given to the Hindi literature. Now, you must know three main characters coming from poor Dalit family: Gisu, Madhav, and Bhutia. What is the relation? Gishu is the father, Madhav, Gisu's son, and Bhutia is Madhav's wife. Right? Then there is a specific term that they have used, Premchand has used in his writing, that this family, this Dalit family, comes from a Chamar community. Now, you may equate chamars and mochis because there is no difference as you may see it, but Imperial Gazetteer of India that was published in 1908 has described different types of castes in different ways. And there, the Imperial Gazetteer of India distinguishes between chamars and mochis, the shoemaker community and leather workers. Now, there is a difference when we translate shoemaker and leather worker, right? So when you say chamar, they are a group of people who would collect the dead skin of the animals. They will dry it, they will make it usable, and they'll sell it in the market. And whatever the meat is left once the animal is dead, chamars may consume them. Whereas the mochis, as described in the Imperial Gazetteer of India, they buy the animal skin, that is leather, from the market, and then they make shoes. Now you can see the difference between chamars and mochis. Our characters, they come from chamar community, and their primary role in the village has been thrust upon them is to collect the dead animal skin and sell it in the market. They may not be able to do that work in the current setup of the story. They might be doing something else. But the word Premchand is using, they come from Chamar community or the Chamar family. It says a lot of their background, how the society is treating them, how the village treats them. And when he says that these characters belong to Chamar community, you are given the social hierarchy, where the myth says that Brahmin came from so and so forth, Kshatriya came from so and so forth, the Vaishyas came from so and so forth, and Shudra, Dalits, they came from the feet of the Brahma. So by referring this word, Premchand brings in the history of Indian society, which is guided by religious beliefs and myth. We may deny, but Premchand says that they come from Chamar community. Right? So we have to see that how the usage of this word and associating it with this family will change the entire story. Let me ask a simple question and you can opt not to answer. What if these three characters do not belong to Chamars and they belong to, let's say, Kshatriya or Brahmin or, let's say, Vaishya? Will they be the same characters? Will they be in the same situation? Will they be behaving the way they behave? Will the story be written at all if they are not from a Chamar community? Will it inspire Premchand to write a story about them? We don't have answers. We can just question. So when they become Chamar, then there is a lot of things to talk about. Because you will see how Gishu and Madhav behaved, how they are perceived in the story. What are their features? The village assumes and they think they would have this many features because they come from a Chamar community. Gisu, Madhav and Bhutia cannot be from any other community, and therefore Premchand has written the story because of the pain and suffering the family undergoes. Now, after reading the story, you might have come across the gender issues. Father and son before marriage, and father and son after marriage, after Madhav's marriage. So before marriage, their life was chaotic. They lived the way they wanted to live. There was no worry to go home, at least for Madhav. At least for Gisu. The entire hut was unorganized. The chula, the stove, the eating at home changes things. Because when a female enters a male house, she tries to make things in order. So females bring order into this male characters. Now they need to go home. They need to visit their places. They need to think about something to bring home to make the female character eat. It's a different matter that they don't think about that. But Madhav thinks that way to some extent. A year before the marriage has taken place. And what Premchand says is giving the female character, the gender, the female sex, the entire responsibility to make it a civilized home and the family. It does mean, if you read between the lines, that before Puriya's arrival into Madhav's life, they were uncivilized. They did not behave properly. They did not dress properly. Right? So, Buddhia's entry, Madhav's wife's entry into the family have made them a kind of civilized person. Otherwise, they behaved like animals. And that's where we need to read the importance of female character in the story. Now then, there is another side. You have seen only one female character and two male characters. Gisu, Madhav and Udaya. Udaya is wife to Madhav, whereas Gisu's wife does not have anything in the story. So it is assumed that she might be dead the way Budhiya died, giving birth to a child. Then also it brings another important question, that since these are poor Dalit family members, affordability in giving childbirth is their dream. They cannot imagine. There are a number of child deaths. Mother dies during giving birth to child. Again, it gives us a picture when Premchand is writing that it is during this time the female death or the mortality rate of death is higher, and therefore the gender differences are higher. The male-female ratio is disturbed because of this. Why these characters behave in this way? Because there is nobody to look after them and make them civilized. So whatever animosity you see among the society between the characters for the males, maybe because of this, their characteristics can be attributed to the absence of female in the story before Buddha's arrival. And once you have formed a certain kind of behavior, the way you live your life in absence of female characters, you turn out to be uncivilized. That's what it says at one level. So this woman named Buddha in the story brings in the element of civilization in the society, in the family. And we need to understand that. We know it's a rural setting. In the film you have seen on Kafan, they start eating somewhere near the river. Somebody's dead, feast is given, they eat and they come near their house. So it's entirely rural setting. In 1936, even today, India lives in villages, not in urban metropolitan cities. We have to remember this all the time, where the setting is. When you say it's a rural area, we talk of all the rituals, we talk all the traditionals, we talk of all the orthodox behavior that we see. It's not like Desi and citizens. It's entirely different. You see religious following very literally. You see social structure being followed literally. They adhere to it, even in giving the work. When we say rural setting, we also say feudalistic society, where there is a zamindar and then there are peasant. You cannot think beyond this when you are thinking of a rural setting. When you think of a rural setting, you may think that there are people who are going to help them in their times of crisis. For example, when Buddha is dead. So villagers will behave in a particular way in this context. And there are a number of characteristics that you will find in the story. And we'll try to read some of that portion today. In the very first introduction of the paragraph, the first few lines, we are introduced that there is a pregnant woman and she has labor pain. And she's suffering from that labor pain. And nobody is to take care of her. Even Madhav, her husband, he is useless in that sense. And Gishu, does not support Madhav for that. He may be saying verbally that you can go and check on her, but there is no meaning, as Madhav says. She has to suffer, because that's what the women undergo when they are pregnant. They suffer a lot. But there is no support from the male side. Her husband, Madhav, does not support her. He feels uselessness. He feels that he does not have enough capability to support. Even emotionally, he is ruined. He does not stand with her emotionally, because this is the most critical time when wife needs husband or family members to support her emotionally. Physically, we can understand that Madhav and Visu cannot do anything because that's the process the females undergo while they give birth to a child. But then we are told that these two characters, they cannot even take a single step to ask for somebody in the village to take care of that pain. They don't have money, that can be one issue, but they don't have a will, it seems. They don't have willingness to help her. And that's where the problem starts. And there are layers of this when we read the story entirely. We will talk about it. And out of this pain, and it is very sad that even today, women die of giving child a birth. In rural setting, you may say that the scenario has changed. I wouldn't say so. Buddha dies next day. And you can imagine the women in pain in the hut for the entire day. She is mourning. She is suffering, and nobody is to take care of her. And she dies. And when she dies, it's not her death only. She dies with a child in her womb. So if we relate the inhuman element of male characters in the story that allows death to take over, we also see and try to connect that how males kill the entire civilization and the future of the mankind. The birth of that child was a symbolic that it's the mankind, the male characters who allowed this to happen. They ignored the pain and suffering and the agony and the mourning of the females. So when Premchand says that Madhav's marriage had taken place the year before, since this woman had come, she had laid the foundation of civilization in the family. Now you can read that line in the context of this death. That it's a death of the civilization in the family. Once again, they will become barbaric. They will become animal-like. And they don't have anything in the future. But then, one of the questions that comes to your, let's say my mind, is I'm so hungry and I'm going to die out of starvation. Can I mourn? Can I feel that pain? Can I share that agony with others? I don't know whether you have seen Manvini Bhavai or not. Upendra Trivedi is an actor in that film. Snehalata is the female actress, a female actor there. A starving man can do anything, and it is that hunger that stops them doing what they are doing and what they are supposed to do. So when we say a starving man, I'm not just referring to male gender, I'm also including female gender as well. But when we say this question with reference to the story, Gisu and Madhav, we feel that these two characters are a kind of criminal. They are inhuman. And they don't mourn even for their beloved daughter-in-law and a wife. How can we do that? But then in Gujarati, there is one important kehwat, pet karave wait. This is an extreme example of that. With hunger, you do anything that is being asked. And that's why United Nations across the world has this program, Remove Hunger from the World. If anybody is hungry, there is a possibility that they would commit a crime. And this is not less than a crime to let a pregnant woman die. If you are not able to sustain, if you are not able to maintain a woman, there is no right to get a woman at your place. If we think that male, if we think from a chauvinistic point of view, that male feeds females. Now, this, of course, the society has changed today. But then, if you don't do it financially, you can at least do something socially and emotionally. But they fail here. So I would see Gisu and Madhav as a failed tribe, wherever they belong, whether they are Chamars or whether they are something else. It does not matter. They could have done something, and you can sense it while reading the story. But Premchand treats male characters this way, so let it be that way. But then we also come across this point of view, that Premchand allowed this woman to die when she was about to give birth to a child. So it's a social reality that happens in 1936, that females die. And male characters, male dominant Indian society does not do anything. You will see how hypocritical the society was when they asked for money to buy a Kafan, a shroud. They donated the money. If Gisu and Madhav are responsible for the death of this woman, the entire village is also responsible for that woman. Can't you have a compassion for such situation? The question arises, when to give donation and how to give donation. The temples, the churches, the mosque in the village, in the story, are thriving, though there is no direct reference. But the religious aspect of the village, of the story, tells us that. So can't somebody who values whatever the religion they are following can understand it is the utmost important thing to bring a life onto this earth? So I would suggest that Gisu and Madhav along with the entire village, are responsible for the death of this woman. And whether they can mourn or not, different story, but they could have done something for this woman. And this is inhuman. The entire village turns out to be inhuman. They don't see the need to help. The female pregnant woman is mourning. She is shouting for help, and nobody is listening even to what she is going through. Let's forget the male characters. Not even the female characters come out and try to help. So this is inhumanity. And they are not compelled. And if they are compelled by the society and the rules of the society, let's say the social hierarchy, why we need such social hierarchy which allows us to be inhuman? Because she is from Dalit Chamar community, she does not require help, or I cannot help because she is from Chamar community. This is insane. So it is not compulsion, it is the choice that the author is giving to the entire village. And the author is not giving this choice out of his fancy. He is looking into the village. He has experienced it. That the choice is in the hands of human beings, whether to become a human being or become inhuman. Because we know literature reflects the society, and so is this. It's a mirror to the society. And if we are taking this incident as a real incident, I think we should feel shame on having the world's greatest religion on our shoulder. I think no religion teaches to be inhuman. Every religion, let it be Christian, let it be Muslim, let it be Hindu, Sikh, Jain, they all teach us to help beyond our imagination, beyond our social hierarchies. And if we fail to get that learning from our religion, I think we as a human beings have failed the religion. Because religion teaches you, you don't take that learning. So this compelling is not coming from the society, not coming from the religion. It is coming from the choices that human beings, the family members of Buddha and the village, the entire village community is taking. So it is that choice that can be questioned. They could have donated the money when she was in pain. Let's forget that she was not given money, but at least a medical attention could have been given so that her life can be saved. So this is a question that one needs to ask. When do you donate? Whom do you donate? And when when the donation is required. In Mahabharata, Karna was considered to be the greatest donor of all times. The character of Karna. He donates his...
Sir, I want to say something.
Yeah, go on.
So people appear to be softer and sympathetic to the dead rather than alive.
Yeah, that's what
As Sushant decided.
Yeah, that's what the story of Buddha is. That's what the story of Karna is. When Karna is dead, her mother appeared sympathetic that he was my son. Even Sushant Singh case that you have rightly said, people are sympathetic and softer when the person is dead. But when he is alive, you try to do everything to get him down. You try to pull the leg of that fellow.
Example.
Right? So That's
Yes, sir.
to understand when to donate, when the person is in real need. And if you don't donate, it's not money. It can be emotional support. It can be a word. It can be just listening to the person. Okay, how are you feeling today? You just sit with the person and the person will be happier by not just receiving the money. It is entirely a different situation when you listen to the person. That is also a donation. You donate your time, you donate your ears, you donate your intelligence for the benefit of the society. And here, the society is absolutely behaving nonsensical. And if Premchand is looking what he is writing, I think we need to understand that what Premchand was writing and why he was writing. So remember, we need to understand that it is your choice to donate. The person is qualified or not, that's a different issue. Obviously, you can't give money to the drunkard because he is going to drink after all. You analyze the situation that this is the place where I need to donate my time, money, and efforts. Something good is coming out. I must be part of it. Now, interestingly, these two characters are talking about the fate. She was to die because she was born in such a poor condition. And so the question that comes to my mind, that does fate play a role in a life, or does a system play a role in a life? See, fate and life are abstract words, and they are the most powerful words that can change our life. But system is not an abstract. You create it. In this case, it is the system that kills mother's wife. Or rather, I would say, the system kills a female, a pregnant woman, whatever caste she belonged to, but it is the system of social hierarchy. But because they are chamars, you don't need to help them. It is the male system that killed her. She does not die. She is murdered by the entire system that we have created. Now, if you read the story, Premchand says, die. Now, from his point of view, the third person narrative, he may use this word die, but as a reader, I would say the entire system, along with male and caste system, they killed her. They killed the future of mankind. Symbolically, if you take it on a larger scale, and the last question, I think we are running out of time. So, can near and dear ones love to see their family members in pain? Never. But now you see the entire different clan of family members.